Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today I want to demonstrate how to integrate SyntaxMatrix into an AI application. Without further ado, let's jump to the project. So I have here open a folder. I've created a folder SMX rack. This is where my project will go. I have it open here, so I need to go through the command line CMD command prompt and open this folder inside VS Code. I'm going to be using VS Code for this project. So as a CMD, hit enter and I open this folder, project folder SMX rack in command prompt. So from here now, I can say code space dot to open this in Visual Studio Code. And then you go, we have opened the folder, the project folder in VS Code. So the first thing I want us to do is create the app Python file where we write our logic, the logic file. So you click out here and then we come here, we say add new file. I'm going to call it app.py. Hit enter and then let's test it out by printing out something. Let's say we print out hello world just to make sure that our project is working. All right, so say print hello world. Save this. You save this. Control S. I'm using Windows machine. So then we come here, we say Python app.py to run our program, and we have hello world printed out. All right, so our project is ready for what we need to do. So the first thing I want us to do is to create a virtual environment. The virtual environment will containerize all the framework and the packages that we will download, that we will use for this project. We want to containerize it so that we don't have it conflicting with other such downloads or such installations that we might have in our system. So, or we might have different versions of the same installation, and then at some stage, while it works now, at some stage they cease to work because of conflicting packages. So we want to containerize it. That's why we're creating a virtual environment. All right, so to create a virtual environment, you just go, you say Python space -m space VENV for virtual environment space, then you give the name of your virtual environment. You can say my VENV or whatever, but I want mine just to be VENV, so I call it VENV as well. So you hit enter. When you hit enter, it's going to create a folder here. Going to create a folder and configure it to contain all the packages. Whenever you install a package, it's going to be contained in that folder, not in not globally in your system. So go ahead and do that. It's going to take a while because it's a big file as well. So be patient and give it time to finish the installation and configuration. Okay, when that is done, we come back here. The creation of virtual environment is completed. So what we need to do now is we have to activate it. We say dot backslash. The dot here means whatever we want to do next must happen inside this project folder. So the folder we are in is SMX rack. So inside this folder, activate the virtual environment. Again, you could have other virtual environments in other parts or other projects in your system, so you don't want those to be activated. You are telling the system to activate the one inside SMX rack. Okay, this folder here. So that's the purpose of the dot there. So dot backslash the name of the virtual environment, mine is VENV, backslash script with S there, backslash activate, then hit enter. All right, you see, when you find the name of your virtual environment inside bracket preceding your project path, that means your virtual environment is activated. Since we have a virtual environment activated, means we are inside the virtual environment now, which means whatever we installed will not be installed globally on the system. It will be installed only in this project virtual environment, or in this environment, the environment of this project. So we can go ahead now to install our SyntaxMatrix. So you say pip install SyntaxMatrix. When you hit enter, it's going to install our SyntaxMatrix. SyntaxMatrix is a huge framework, so give it some time to finish installation, and then we come back to this page. Okay, so as you can see now, we've installed our SyntaxMatrix. When this installation is completed, you can come in here to you can verify. You can say pip list to see all the installation that we have already. Okay, so you see we have SyntaxMatrix here, and then we also have, I just want to show you this one as well, we also have the OpenAI API SDK. We're going to need this to access models, large language models. So we have so while installing the SyntaxMatrix API SyntaxMatrix framework, we also directly installed OpenAI SDK. So with this now, it makes it easy for us to access our models that we'll use for our project. All right, now that we have our SyntaxMatrix installed, now we can come here into our project, then we can import that SyntaxMatrix. So we say import SyntaxMatrix as SMX. So import SyntaxMatrix as SMS. Then we come here, we say if underscore main name underscore is equals to that is equality sign there, no assignment sign. It goes to quotation marks underscore main underscore smx dot run. So we say smx dot run. Okay, so now just with these lines we install SyntaxMatrix, then we write these two lines, so our project will fall in between this space. So this is the end of this where we launch our project. So everything, the logic will fall in between this space, between the imports and here. All right, so just with that, let's see what has happened now. So if we remember the first time we say let's make sure we save this, Control S, and then remember the first time we said app.py, Python app.py, we had hello world printed on the console, in our console. Now when we run Python app.py, the same command, let's see what happens. It spins up a server. And then we have our SyntaxMatrix UI in front of us, which has sidebar, a very fluid sidebar, and and a theme toggle. You see, can change the look and feel of the project. Theme toggle is there, and then we also have it's fully responsive. We have a hamburger button there for our for our menu nav bar. So we have our nav bar now. So when we have pages here, because the SyntaxMatrix also allow us to add more pages, we're gonna get into those later. And when we have other pages, we're gonna have them listed here. And when it is desktop mode, they're gonna be listed here on the top here. Okay, fully responsive. Okay, so let's stop our server. Go back to our program. To stop the server, we say Control C. That's how we stop our server. Now we see that we have a front end. Now it's worth knowing that our SyntaxMatrix comes, the SyntaxMatrix UI comes with certain inbuilt widgets, like the text input where we input our query, like the submit button to submit our query, and a file upload button for user if user needs to submit some files, a PDF for example, to the chatbot so that they can chat about the file the user uploads. So it comes with these three inbuilt widget. So we're going to activate these widgets. To activate these widgets, we begin with the text input. So we say smx.text underscore input. We pass in a key, text input. Yes, pass in a key. The first key here is user query. The inbuilt widgets must have exactly the keys that we are declaring here. After the user query, we get a label. So we say user query. After that, we then have a placeholder is equal to we can say enter query. Okay, dot. Oh no, let's say 3 dots there. Okay, enter query. All right, and then that's the user query. So let's launch this. Let me show you what I mean. We have activated the text box input, and the other widgets, the other inbuilt widgets, the submit button and the file upload, user file upload, are within inside the text input area. So let's launch this, save this and launch the app again and see what happens. So let's say app.py again. All right, so you see we have a text area here now. This button is deactivated. This is a file upload button. Okay, but if we can upload a file now, but it wouldn't read it because we need to activate this button as well. We need to, so when we load the file, it won't be able to read it. So the text input comes with this inbuilt, right? Already we need to activate this to see. For now, it's not sending anything. And then if we upload a file, but it wouldn't be able to read anything. See, nothing happens. So let's go back in there. Stop this. Stop our server again. Control C. And then let's go back in here and activate those. So we say let's smx.button, and the key for this button here must be submit query. And then the label, that is the text on the button, should be whatever. Let's just say submit or send. It's not even gonna print show because we replace that with with upward arrow, so it doesn't even really matter what we write here. We can even leave that to be an empty string. And then a callback function, a callback function, which is we're gonna call it create conversation. We don't have it yet, so let's create that function here. So let's go in here and say def create conversation, and then for the moment let's say let's write hello world. Okay, when we click the create conversation, the button, the submit button, let's print out hello world. Remember the first time we were printing it in the console. Now we want to display hello world to the chat front end. Okay, so we say smx.write hello world, not longer in the console. All right, so and then let's finish our last widget, inbuilt widget there, which is the file upload button. smx.file underscore uploader, and we pass in the key here must be user underscore pdf with s, and the next there will be upload. The key is important. The next the other properties can be anything. All right, even the name of the callback function here can be anything, but you make sure you define the function. That's what it is. So the callback function, you name it the way you want. The only important thing here are the keys, and this pertains to the inbuilt widget only. If it is a custom built widget, which we're going to see later, the keys can be whatever you want and everything else can be whatever you want. But for these three, the keys must be these. The key for text input must be user query. The key for the submit button must be submit query, and the key for file uploader must be, for the user file uploader must be user PDFs. And then when we have that, we say upload PDF. Then after that we say accept multiple files. Accept multiple files equals to true, property to true, files equals to true. Okay, now let's run it and see, and so that when we click the button we can see if we can print hello world. Save, and then run our app.py again. All right, now let's see. Now we can't. The click button doesn't work. Why? Because the text box is empty. While the text box is empty, click button doesn't work. It's not. It is disabled. So enter query. That's a placeholder there. That will type in anything because we are not even capturing what we're just trying to activate the submit button. As you can see, if it's empty, it goes back disabled. Typing is that it activated. So let's submit. You see hello world. So now it is working. We have connected the button to the callback function. Now we can print hello world. All right, so as you see, as I said, you see the enter button. Let's type in something again. Instead of pressing submit button, let's hit the enter key on our keyboard. If I click enter here, it still activates the submit button, and it activates the submit and sends the whatever was in, and activate the callback function. So the submit button, this one, activates the callback function, calls the callback function, and the enter key of our keyboard also calls the callback function. If you want to write in multiple lines, in 2 lines, 3 lines, whatsoever. So when you say hi, let's say you want to go to new line, if you hit enter, it will submit. But if you press shift, then enter, it goes to the new line. So new line, as you can see, shift, it goes to the new line again. As you can see, we are writing many lines. All right. Now if I press enter without shift, it will submit it. So it calls the callback function, the conversation, create conversation function, that then writes out the hello world. Now what we can do now, instead of writing out hello world, let's capture whatever is written in the text box, text input box here, the user query box there. Let's capture that and write it out instead of creating instead of printing a static hello world. So let's just say so we have text input here. Then we're gonna, after we get a text input here, we set that out, and then we can now say so let's come here and say smx.get text input value. So that should be the text. Let's call it query, because we are getting from the query box, so that we don't need to change it further along the line. So query is equal to SMS.get text input value, whatever is written in the text there, in the input value there. Then let's make sure that remember, as we saw in our app there, when the text box is empty, submit button doesn't work. But the enter button still works. It still works. So it's still sending out empty. So let's write something there. So it's still calling the function even though it is empty. So let's get that out of the way. All right, let's get that out of the way. Let's also disable the enter enter key, just as if there's no text, the enter key should not call the callback function. So that's what we want to do here now. So we say query is equal to that if query, if not query, then we return. If there's no query, it shouldn't do anything. Oh, before let's instead say this. Let's say it does something. Let's write out. Oh, you need to add query. You need to add something. Let's show error. So we say smx.error, and we say enter something, or write something, type something, whatever. Just a demonstration. Type in something. Okay, let's do that, and let's try again and see. Control and stop the server and run it again. Stop our server and we're running it again. All right, so take this one off. So so you can see now this one doesn't work, and then is disabled, so it's not sending. And then when it's empty, and then we hit enter, before it will call the callback function and print out hello world. Now let's see what happens now. Nothing happens. Let me see what's happening. We should call the callback function. So what's going on? So we see it says type the get input value missing one required argument. All right, so we didn't put in passing the key. So where is it getting? Where? Okay, so SMS.get text input value. Which text input? So we have to make it. We could have many text input text box there. So we want to make sure we pass the key of that particular text input value, that particular text box that we want the function to capture the text from. So it is a user query. The user query. So let's save it now and run. We expect to see this typed on the console. Let's stop the server and run it again. All right, so let's try again. We click here, nothing happens. Okay, now let's press enter. All right, so we see type in something, so it's showing the error. You might want to do it this way to let the user know that they've not typed in something, or you can just make it behave as the submit button that does nothing. In that case, we can come here and say instead of smx.return whatever we want to say to the user, we just return nothing. We don't say anything, just returns, so that it behaves as if it is it behaves the same way as the submit button. Let's Control C to stop the server, and then let's launch the app again. We do that, then we see when we submit, click on submit, nothing, hit enter, nothing. So there's nothing appearing here. So that's what that's how we would like to do it. Okay, stop our server again. So now instead of so if there's no query, it will return, but if there is query, if there's something written, in this case it will write hello world. Instead of hello world, why don't we display whatever is captured? Whatever was written, we spit it out back. Okay, so in this case, let's pass in the query as argument. So we'll say query. Okay, we're passing in the query. So let's see if we're right. So let's launch our app again, app.py. All right, so let's say hi, hit enter, and we have hi, hello, click on button, and we have hello. So whatever we write, whatever we input in the text box, we have it spit out back. Remember, it's not coming from LLM yet. We've not connected to any LLM. We're not calling any LLM yet. This is just ordinary spitting out whatever we have. Okay, so what is your name? And then we have what is your name. So this is the chat now. Okay, so let's go back and then stop our server and then implement some logic here. We don't want to be just writing what we type. We want to implement some logic here where we can now call our LLM to now process the query. So to do that, what we need to do is we have to come here. Let's instantiate the chat history. We have to get a chat history. So obviously the first time it launches with no chat, the chat history will be null, obviously. Then because we need to get the query and the answer, we answer from the LLM. When we get the answer from the LLM, then we append the query and the answer from the LLM onto the chat history so that we get a conversation. Okay, so we say chat history is equals to smx dot get chat history. Okay, then we say session ID is equals to smx dot get session dot get session ID. Okay, and then the next thing we need to do now is we can get a context. We'll say context is equals to, let's initialize that to an empty list. Then remember we have if you look, we'll go back to your front end there. So remember we have a plus button to upload files, and we have instantiated that. So let's check if while they are conversating, because the query could be concerning the uploaded file by the user. If the user uploads a file, they could be asking questions about that file. So we need to check if the user uploaded any file. So we say user chunks is equal to smx dot get user chunks, and then we pass in that takes SID as argument, the session ID, because whenever a file is loaded, the span of that file is, or the scope of the file is the session. It lives within a session. Each uploaded file lives within a session for the user files, not the system files. Like, let's say we're building a system for a company, not the company files. The company files persist forever, but the user file persists per session of the chat. Okay, and if the server is closed, the memories are released. Okay, so the file is deleted. So user chunks is equal to get user, we pass in the session ID. Now we loop through this user file, we append those to the context. So let's use the list comprehension there. So we say we don't want to add empty chunks to the context. So we say if user chunks, I'm going to use list comprehension here. I'm going to say context dot append chunk for chunk in user chunks. Okay, that's list comprehension there. This same as, okay, let me just expand it here. If, let's just comment this out for the moment. Okay, so the same as if that is, then we can say for chunk in user chunks context dot append chunk. Okay, chunk. So this one line, this is what it means. The same as this 2 lines. So this is a list comprehension, and I like to use that. So let's use it. The list comprehension style. So that's easier, neater, cleaner. All right. So we use list comprehension. It does the same thing. So we got the chunks now. Then we can now we have the context, which contains the user chunk. So we have the chat history, we have query. So we can now call the LLM now. So we can pass it to a function. Inside that function, that will call the LLM and then accepts these arguments that we're passing. So we initialize the function with parameters as the chunk, the query, and so forth. So let's say answer is equal to process query. We define it, we don't have it yet, which is going to take the query, the history, chat history, and context. Okay, it's going to take those. We don't have this function yet, so we can define this function. So let's come up here and say process query, dev process query, and it takes in query, history, and context. Okay. Pass for now. Let's see what we're gonna do. All right, so so let's make sure we have a connection there. So what we need to do is, let's say, let this function just return hi, I am the processor, something like that. Yeah, just make sure everything's working. Then of course it's going to be right here. Then we can now say chat history dot append. We append tuple user query, then chat history dot append another tuple bot answer. All right, so and then then we set the chat history now. So we say chat the smx dot set chat history. All right, now let's see if we're right. Smx dot set chat history. Okay, let's see what happens now. So we're saying it's gonna get the file, and then it's gonna just return instead of say hi, let's just return the context. We say return context, return context, return context. Let's save that, run our app again. All right, so hi, submit. Okay, it should do have error somewhere, Let's go there and see what the problem is. Error, status code 500 is error. Okay. Local variable query reference before assignment, of course. Where are we referencing before assignment? So in line 16, we are referencing it before assignment. So yeah, line 16, user query. It was a query. What's our query? Oh, yeah, this should come up. Sorry about that. It should come up. So so how are we sending? So we should get this query. Chat history, we get SID. Okay, and then we have to get the query. All right. So come here and we say query. That's why we put our query there, because we cannot send the query now. We were sending query that we don't have. All right. So save and then run it. Stop our server and run it again. So now we have, let's say hi again. Hi. Okay, now we have a problem again. What do 500 means error. So we say set chat history is set as, I just keep missing up things. Okay, set as chat history. Which chat history we're setting? It takes an argument, which is this current chat history that we just created. Chat history. You should take that. Okay, that's where our problem is. All right, that's how you debug it. So we're passing the chat history into the set chat history function. So let's say hi again, enter, and then this empty list, remember this empty list is, okay, what I should say is, so this empty list is because there is no user text, remember. So what I should say here instead, they are not returning both at the same time. It should be this or this. Okay, so let's stop again. And I'm gonna say hi again. Launch, and there you see we have hi there. Why? So that's the purpose of OR. So if there's no you see, the first time it was returning both. We don't want it to be returning both. So the OR here means we return context. If there is context, it returns context, but if there's no context, let it return this. So that's what we're saying. Okay, so so at least it's working. All right, it's returning, and then we are appending it to the chat history. So now let's see if we can have a context. Remember, when we get a user, when we upload a file, the file that we upload, we can get those chunks from the PDF that we upload from SMS.getUser chunks, and then we are appending those chunks into the context. That is the text that we are returning. So if we load the file, we expect to see the text of the PDF, the extracted text of the PDF file. Okay, let's go back to the front end there and try to load a file there. Load. Let's get this PDF meeting file there. Okay, we have uploaded file. That file contains 2 chunks. Okay, so now let's just say hi again. We expect to see the chunks, the text of those files, of those PDF, of that PDF file return. Okay, there you go. So these are the text. It chunks it and then it returns them. So that side is working, no problem. So we have that functionality working very well. Okay, so now instead of returning as answer the context or hi, I'm the professor, no answer, or should I say no answer here, we should actually allow this process query to send this query to our LLM, so that the LLM will now figure out how to generate answer. Remember, the large language model, the Gen AI, they generate answers, they generate text. Okay, so we will send it. We are sending the query so that you should know what it's responding to. The history, so that you keep the context in line with what the memory of what it had said before, so that if you go back and ask something that you asked before, it should be aware of what it had responded before, so that it doesn't look boring. And then the context is from where it should get the text, from where it should go and fetch the answer to generate, no, from where it should go and fetch knowledge to generate the answer. This is what the context is all about. All right, so instead of returning this, what we need to do is, okay, we need to have our LLM. So to get our LLM, in this particular case, I will be using GPTs from OpenAI. You could use Gemini from Google as well. You could use Grok from XAI. You could use DeepSeek. Okay, so if you go to my GitHub, the SDKs are there, how to access them. Let's just open that there real quick. So let's go to GitHub / my name, then simple rack. Okay, if you go here and then you go here, you will see how to implement how to get the clients, to set up the clients, and how to set up the LLMs. So these are the models. So I'll just copy this here, so don't save us time here. Copy that and come back here, and then we paste that. Okay, so OpenAI. So what we need to do, we import from, remember we saw in the pip list that while installing SyntaxMatrix, we also installed OpenAI SDK. So from that OpenAI SDK, now we can import the OpenAI module, OpenAI, and then we also from OpenAI import, we don't have import there, import OpenAI. All right, now our SDK, our OpenAI key. So I'm gonna say OpenAI API key is equal to, now I don't want to paste my OpenAI key here, for obvious reasons, so which should never be done. You don't expose your OpenAI key or any key for that matter, any token, any API token and whatsoever. You don't do that. Never, 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 never. So what we need to do is we create a virtual environment here. So go here, click out here, go here, click out here, create a new file, and you call it .env file. Hit enter. In here you say OpenAI API key is equal to, you paste your OpenAI key here. If it is DeepSeek API key, you paste it here. If it is Grok or Gemini API key, you paste it here. So I'm not gonna paste that. I'm gonna paste mine behind the scene. Okay, so when you do that, let's meet at the front. Okay, so as you can see, I now have my I've pasted my OpenAI API key. I have saved the file and I've closed it. All right, So to get that, then I have to say to get the value of the OpenAI key, we need to use .env function to get that. So we say from .env import load .env. Okay, now it's giving out because we've not installed that. So let's go back here to our terminal, stop that function there. So we say remember, we didn't import OpenAI, we have it already. We saw that when we installed SyntaxMatrix, so that's okay, but we don't have .env. So you come in here and say pip install python -.env, hit enter. So you hit enter, it's gonna install your .env, and then we do what we did here, and then we say then we call the function load .env. It will load the virtual environment .env, and then we can now access the key, the key, the OpenAI key, because the environment is value pairs, a string and its value, string and a value, and a value. So we need to access the key there, which is OpenAI key, and to do that we say os.get env, and then we pass in the string OpenAI API key. That's the string we pass in the .env. Remember we said the OpenAI API key is equal to a string. That's that OpenAI, that text we wrote there, that's what we're putting in here. All right, so it's gonna access this .env, the .env loads .env, and then we get this function to get the value of that key inside the .env that has been loaded by this load.env. So OS, we need to import OS. Import OS. Okay. There we go. And then that is done. We can cancel this one. I don't want to use all those. I don't want to be installation this one here. So I'm just going to say LLM is equal to that. Yep. LLM is equal to OpenAI, and then model, I'm going to use just GPT-4o mini. So I'm going to cancel all this. GPT-4o mini. All right, so now we can, let's say, where are we? We have this, so we come into the process query. Now we can have instruction. We can say profile, say profile. This is trying to give your LLM an identity. You are a healthcare assistant, you are a financial blah blah blah, you are a professor. Imagine you are you are expert in academic writing, something like that. You give it an identity, or act as this, act as that, act as professor, act as an engineer, code engineer, act as you know, you get the idea. So I'm going to say profile is equal to act as the expert in natural language processing. Then you add more. All right, you add more. So the next one is instruction. is equals to, okay, I'm just gonna paste, copy and paste instructions that I use somewhere. Okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste, so I'm gonna paste this instruction here, paste it there. So generate a response to the given query based on the given context. Use the chat history to stay in context. Refer to your training knowledge if content lacks sufficient knowledge to generate a response. Your response should not include a preamble, or should not include preambles like a prefix. All right, any prefix, just return the answer. All right, and then even if not explicitly requested in the query, but should the response require a list, output a markdown ordered list or an unordered list format as appropriate. Okay, just to give it a structure, so we can have a structure thing instead, not just spitting out words without any structure. That's the idea behind that. All right, so when we have that, then we can now write our prompt. We can write our prompt now. Prompt is equals to, this should be a list of key value pairs. So the first one will be role system. See, no, role system, yes, system, role system, comma. So so what we're actually doing here is like this: role system, comma, then content, profile. All right, that's the first key value pair there. First, so we know the next one. We have role again. User, comma, content, instruction. Okay, that's done there. The last one, but not the least, actually the list. So what we need to do is, this one will be role again, role assistant, comma, content, give it an F string here, and I say query, the query we receive up there, and then put a couple of double line there, and then history, put our history there, history. Okay, couple of double line there, and then context, and then our context here, context. Okay, then we come here, we say answer is equals to no, we get the not answer yet. So we have a prompt, we have to go through response, get the response from the LLM first before fishing out the answer from the response, and then return that. So we say response is equals to LLM dot chat dot completions dot create. This is the API that we are hitting. So do we have LLM? I thought we created LLM here. Okay, it's LLM here, and then let's say model here. Okay, so LLM.chat.completions. Okay, inside here we say LLM, so model is goes to our model that we define up there, which should be GPT-4o, comma, messages. This will be our prompt, comma. Why is it refusing prompt? It's spelling wrong. This is prompt. What did I write? Prompt. Okay. Wrong spelling there. Okay. So what is it? Where are we? All right, we're here. Oh, we are on process query. We're here. We've done that prompt. Okay. And then temperature. Give it a temperature. It's equals to 0.3, and then max tokens it's equals to, let's say, 500, something like that. Okay, that's our response. Now we fetch answer from this response. So we say let's go back up there, save space a little bit. Answer is equals to response dot choices, the first choice in there, dot message dot content. That's our answer. Okay, save that. Let's see. Okay, let's try to wrap this in a try exception, because it could fail. We want to we don't want the user to be seeing some log errors. We want to output something friendly to the user. We want a chatbot to output something friendly to the user if something fails. There could be lack of internet, there could be something more. All right, so here let's put this or this in a try exception block. All right, so before we return the answer, so let's say here we say try. Of course this has to be indented. Okay, and then here we're gonna have exception. So except exception as E, then we say answer, in this case, which is not the response from LLM, of course, which is not something we expected. It should be an error. In this case, answer is equal to so string formatting there, so error string E. We'll return that E there. Okay, and then now we can return the answer. Okay, so if it works, no problem, it returns the proper answer here, the text we get from this response that we feature here. But if there's error, it will return whatever value it's here. So instead of returning content here, we can now return answer. Okay, that's done there. Now let's see if we can query. Let's see. I'm used to making typos. Let's make sure we've not made any typos somewhere. Okay, let's test and see. So now when we say I run our app.py, of course we have error. Okay, so there's a function error there. Okay, we like comma here. Comma is missing there. Let's launch again. Okay, still loading. All right, so when we say hi this time, okay, definitely error. Anyway, let's see, status quo 500. Where's the return answer? Okay, let's see, line 43, process query, return answer referred before assignment. Okay, really? All right, so we had error here, spelling error. I knew it. If it had fallen here, we'll receive this error, but since there was no error here, everything here was working. It worked well. It got the answer. But we will save it in answer with M. So now we are saying we should return answer, not answer. So that's where we had problem there. Go back, restart, stop the server, and start again. Okay, now let's say hi again. Hi. And there we go. Hello, how can I help you today? Let's say introduce yourself. Okay, I am an expert in natural language processing, trained to assist with variety of queries. Okay, now you see, now it's reading from the profile we gave it. So whatever profile we give it, that's how it will behave. So obviously you can improve the prompt, add more context to your profile. Okay, to your profile, to the identity of your LLM. Okay, now let's see if it knows about any user file. Let's ask about, we're going to load this file here. We're going to load this ABC meeting. Okay, we're going to load this meeting file first. Let's just ask about this list, just out of the blue. Just ask it about it. Okay, who were the attendees at the ABC meeting? Obviously you should have no clue. I don't have specific information about the attendees at the ABC meeting. You may need to check the meeting agenda, blah 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 blah. Okay, it doesn't have a clue. Now let's upload that file. Upload. This is a meeting. Open. Okay, we have already has 2 chunks, and now let's ask the same question again. It gives us a list. So it gives us this list. Alright, this display is weird because the default display, so we need to use set the project to a different display. I don't like this display. It's a default display. If you don't set a display, it's gonna display that stupid ugly display. All right, as if I'm not the one who wrote it, you know, so I'm stupid. That's what I mean. Okay, so let's give it a proper useful display there. Let's say, come here and say smx dot set UI mode. We give it, let's give it the bubble UI mode, bubble. Okay, save and launch our project again. Stop server, Control C and launch again. What is that? Did we launch? We didn't stop. Stop, then launch again. All right. Okay, so let's remember. Okay, now that we stop the server, we might need to load the file again, of course, but let's just see. It doesn't know. It shouldn't know. I am unable to provide information about the meeting. Okay, let's load the file. we have already defined now instead of asking that question again, let's just say I have sent the files to you. I have just sent the ABC meeting file to you. Let's stop there and see how it's going to respond. Of course, it remembers that we had asked about, because of the chat history, you remember, that's why we give it the chat history. It knows that we asked about this question, then it knows that it told us that it doesn't have the file, and now we are telling it that we have sent the file we have sent it the file. Now it goes back to answer the question we had previously asked, which it had said it doesn't have the file. It makes sense, right? Instead of us, so it knows the context of the conversation. That's exactly what we're doing. So it now knows the user uploaded file. All right. Now the next thing we need to do is how to upload a company's data as PDF. So if we go here, let's just delete all these ones. If we go here at /admin, we have admin panel here where we can add pages and do many other stuff. You can go to my GitHub page to see the functionalities there. We can add a company. Let's say a company now has a data. Company has data in PDF files, for example, and so we want that the user comes to the company's chat system and be able to query the company about the company. The first file upload is, say the user wants to chat with his PDF, or when he's chatting with the PDF, the company the chat might require a document. Please send me such document. Then they can make query about that document. But in this case, we want a company administrator to go at the back end and upload the system file at onset of the app. Okay, at the onset of the app, so that the app, this LLM will now have the information about the company. It will be now able to answer questions about that company. For example, the paper I'm going to load for the query to mimic a company's data will be this enhanced corrective retrieval augmented generation. This is my thesis in Masters in AI in 2024. So this thesis is about reducing hallucination, how to build intelligent chat system, how to chunk them. So I proposed a sub-document implementation and a knowledge detection unit from corrective retrieval augmented from previous researches on this topic. So I propose this. So we're going to use this as the company data. Okay, when we upload this to the system, it's going to chunk, it's going to extract all the text on this PDF file, it's going to chunk them, and then it's going to make it available for the system to be able to respond. So we'll assume that this belongs to the company. Okay, so let's do that. So when we go to the admin panel here, we can now upload that file here. This is the enhanced corrective retrieval augmented generation. We upload it there. So we have selected the file. Now let's upload it, and we have uploaded. It has 14 chunks. Okay, so one PDF, you can upload multiple PDFs anyways. So obviously a company's data would be contained in many PDF, not just one PDF. Okay, this is just an example. So but the SyntaxMatrix allows you to upload as many PDF as you want. And now it takes it and shows. So this is our file. You can delete it, you can do whatever you want to do with it, you can add more and things like that. So now that we have this, we need to stop and go and implement the part that we need to capture it, and then send it to the LLM. Okay, so let's stop the server. So we need to come here now. And then before this process, we can get the system's chunks. We can say system chunks is equals to smx dot load sys chunks. sms.load system chunks. So we want to consider that into the query, to the context as well. So that we added one, so that we come to the context now. Instead of saying context is equal to empty list, we should initialize that context whenever the chat is launched. We should initialize this context with the system chunks. All right. So the system chunks. Let me print out system chunks. Let's print out system chunks. Let's see. After that, let's say smx dot write system sys chunks. Let's see that. Save and then launch our app again. It's gonna be huge, I believe. Okay, so hi, and then we get system chunk. Okay, so this 14 chunks. Okay, now what I wanted to show you is how the chunks are returned. So you have the name of the file. Obviously we have only one file. If so, all the chunks belong to this, just this file, the name of this file. So this is the name of the file. Enhanced quality retrieval augmented generation with subdocument embedding and efficient knowledge detection .pdf. That's the name of the file. So Charlie Street append. So okay, so we can write. So we have the system chunks here. What is it? Yeah, it comes in key value pairs. The key there is the name of the file, because you could have many files, community files, many PDFs, and then the values there are the chunks. So as we saw, this particular file has 14 chunks. So we'll have just one file there with 14 chunks. So we can access those. I said they are a dictionary of key value pairs. So we can access the we can print out the keys and then the pairs. So we can come here and say xmx dot write syschunks dot keys. Okay, in this case we expect to have just one key. Let's see that. Stop and run. The name of the file, enhanced quality retrieval augmented generation. That's what I'm expected to see. Okay, error there. Yeah, so 500 because erase type error because the name is not JSON serialized. Okay, so we need to convert that into list. We could say list write list syschunks dot keys list syschunks dot keys. Let's save it there. Stop and run. Try again, and then we have the key. So this is the key here, the name of the file. So remember, if we had more than one file, we'll name this is the name of the first file. Remember, it's a list, so we'll have just one file in there. Save, stop and run the server again. Not giving in. Okay, so now that we are able to capture the system chunks, we can now augment the context as well. So instead of initializing the context as empty list, we can assign the context to the values of those keys. So we can say is equals to list system syschunks dot values. Okay, we can assign those there, so that when we get the user chunk, now we'll be adding to that. Save, and then stop, and then run again. So okay, we have implemented that, but the question I wanted to ask, it is better we ask those questions, or at least one question containing pertaining to that document, so that to be clear, to ensure that the LLM has no clue about the question, so that when we load the system data now and ask the same question, then the LLM should be aware of the content, just as we did with the user file loader. So or rather we take out we take out the domain data first, so it's empty now. Go back, launch again. What is eCrack? Okay, so you can see now it has no clue what we're talking about. It says eCrack stands for European Clinic, blah blah blah. Of course, it doesn't know. It should say enhanced retrieval augmented generation, as we said, because it doesn't have that domain knowledge. We took it out, so that's what we wanted to see. Now let's load the file again. Let's load that file again. This is it here. Okay, it's loaded. Right, now let's stop the server, because if you see the implementation, it's not like the user, it doesn't persist only in session. So and it is not loaded each time we query, but for the user file, it fetches the user file each time there is a query. All right, so that's why we're able to still know the user file when we load it without stopping the server to load it again, because if you check it here, it is inside the create conversation. Okay, so each time there is a query, this function is called, create conversation is called, and the user chunk is checked if there's a user chunk. So when we upload a file, user uploads a file, it doesn't need to stop the app before the LLM is aware of the file being that is uploaded. But with this with the system file, because it is not, whenever there's a query, the file is loaded when the app launches. So when there's a query, if the app during app launch, if the system file was null, there's no way the LLM will get this file if the file was loaded after the app has been launched, because during the query it doesn't go and fetch the system chunk anymore. So what we need to do is, when we upload the system file, we have to stop the system, so that when we launch it again, it will pick it up here. Okay, so let's stop it now, launch it again. So let's ask the question again. What is eCrack? Okay, we expected that now. So eCrack, or enhanced quality retrieval augmented generation, is a framework designed to improve the accuracy, relevance, and efficiency of information retrieval and response generation in knowledge augmented language models. It builds upon previous models like retrieval augmented generation and corrective retrieval augmented generation. Those are the areas where I did research on. All right, so it knows now about the system files, and remember, it this system data is not per session. It goes, the scope is beyond the session. It's the life of the runtime. Okay, so each time the app is launched, the context is there. We don't need to load it anymore. Okay, it is persisted. So but with user file, it has to be loaded each time because it is not persisted. So when you load the system file, it will create a folder, upload, then sys, and then upload folder, and then sys folder, and then put the files or the PDF that you uploaded. You put them here. That will constitute the system files. If you delete them, they will go away. All right. So that's being said, that's what we do. How we upload system custom company. So if we ask it now again, who is the author? The author of this paper. We didn't say a crack again. We expect it to know that we're talking about a crack. Okay, so it says the author of the paper titled "A Crack Enhanced Retrieval Augmented Generation" is this guy here, who happens to be me. So it gets it right. Okay, so remember, this is the bubble UI mode that we're using, so you see it's a bit different. It formats a little better. Okay, so I mean, like, the domain data is there. It's not chatting. We cannot chat as much as we want. Okay, let me say, what are your goals? Okay, so it didn't give us in a list. That's stupid. Okay, so improve scalability. Those are its goals. To improve scalability and performance, future work will explore. Expect to say my goals are something like that. Improve scalability, performance. Future work will explore distributed, embedded storage and advanced FAIS configurations to enhance indexing and retrieval. Okay, it's talking. Okay, those are them goals of the company, of course. So you see now it's basing its work on the system files. Okay. Let's just ask some random question. What else can you do? So natural language understanding, I can comprehend and analyze a text to extract meaning, identify sentiments, and summarize information. Okay, this one is coming from its training data. Now it's complexing, it's mixing the training data as well, because remember we said it should always seek its training data for more contextual, meaningful information. Answer, that's what it's doing out here. All right, so I think all in all it's working very well. So now let's go to the ability to give the ability to add pages. So because now we see, I forgot one thing. What we can do now, we see here we have this chat history here. So if we say let's start a new chat here, so we have two now. Obviously they are different, they're not the same, because if you tap this one here, you get this one. So although they have the same name, but this is a summarization of the chat, what has been talked about. Of it, they were talking about the same topic, even though it got the question wrong. But then this other one, it got the question right. So, but since they have the same name, they are different, obviously. But the idea was about a crack. That's why he named it a crack overview. So, but because this one doesn't have the proper answer, we can rename it. Okay. Let's say you can rename your chat. So you rename, instead of a crack overview, you say wrong definition, wrong a crack. Let's just say wrong a crack overview. Save that, and you see we have the new name now here. Okay, and we can come back and we can continue chat with it. Do you now know? Okay, let's say that your knowledge, your previous knowledge of RAG, your previous knowledge of ECRAC is wrong. Do you now know what that is? We expect it to now say give the proper meaning of ECRAC now. Alright, so it now know ECRAC in the context of your inquiry refers to enhanced corrective retrieval augmented generation. It is a framework designed to improve the accuracy, of course, and gives us a very nice list here. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's no longer wrong now. So now we get it. All right, and then we can let's delete this one. So delete, and it goes. So we're left with that. So you can rename, you can edit your side by the chart session titles, and then you can rename, and you can start a new chart and so on. Whenever you start a new chart, or you log off, or you stop the server, the current chart will be saved, will be summarized and archived, so that you can always come back to that chart and continue that same chart, and the LLM will still be aware of what was discussed in that particular chart. So now let's go. We see now that if you see the text box is not being erased, we still have the text. When we launch, we still have text in there. We launch it, we say, do you now know that I still have the text? So we have to take care of that. When we submit, we want to make sure we clear this text box. Okay, so we come here, we come search chart history, and then we say smx dot clear text input value, and it takes the user query. That's where it is going. That's a text box, so we give the key of the text box that it has to go and clear the text input value, which is user query. Let's see now. Let's launch, save, stop our server, and launch again. Okay, so this was the one we had before. Okay, now who at what institution did the author write the paper? Who? Yeah, we already know that he knows who the author is. Now this was the National College of Ireland. Let's see if he knows what I'm talking about. Okay, the author of the paper titled "A Crack and Collective is affiliated with the National College of Ireland." Of course, yes, that's what it is. You can see here. Let's open it. Okay. All right. This is my thesis, MSc, Masters in Artificial Intelligence. As an artificial intelligence engineer, this is the paper, my thesis that I proposed. So of course the LLM is correct. All right, and then so now the text box is clear, as you can see. Right, even when we start a new one now, when we say hi, okay, the text box is clear. That's what we want. Each time the text box should be clear. Then we'll say introduce yourself. So it introduces itself. Okay, now you now see now that after the natural language processing, it now knows about the ECRAC. So as you can see, I'm an expert in natural language processing with a focus on advanced frameworks like enhanced corrective retrieval augmented generation. So it is now enriched. It's talking about the company now. assuming the ICRAC is a company document, okay, and then based on its identity, so it's mixing, it has augmented knowledge of its identity and the domain knowledge of the company, so it's mixing it up, so which is good. And then you can start a new chart. Now let's watch here. You see a new chart will be added there. It will summarize this, and then so we now have national, it's a NLP expert. That's how it has given the title of this chart. So it's NLP expert. All right, so it summarizes it contextually and gives it a title, contextual title. Okay, that's what it does. Okay, we're done that with that one. Now let's say other features. Let's see how we can add a page. So if we go to admin, now we have no page, we have just the site name here and the logo. Okay, let's see how we can change, we can add more pages like about and services, for example. So we can say /admin, and then we can go here and add a page. We'll say about, you want to talk about your company, give a detail about your company, and then let's say we don't have anything there to add. We can go to, we say, okay, we can add, let's say, you can add just plain text. Of course, the title is already there, about. Then we can say this is the about page. It can be like that, or you can also say, give it a let's say H1 tag. Okay, let's say H1 tag, one tag, H1. This is the about page in H1 tag. Okay, close our tag, H1. Okay, now let's add some color just to show you that the LLM, you can write plain text or you can write pure HTML. So let's add some color. We can say span, you can say color, style equals to color red. This is the about page. We close our span. So add this page, and then we go back to the home, and then we have our about page. Click on the about page there. You see we have about, then this is the H1 tag. Okay, see, this is the about page in H1 tag. Okay, and then it did that twice. This is the about page. Okay, this is the title there. This is the about page. The about page in H1 tag. Okay, we set span on this one. Let's edit it again. Go back to admin. So these are the pages here. So when you add a page, it comes here. You can delete it, you can perform or can update it, and so on. That's what we want to do now. You can update this page. So we come here and say so we say span. So we add on the same line. So we need to, let's say paragraph. Let's give it a block tag, because span is not a block tag. That's why he append it to the same line. So we say a p tag is a block tag, p, and then the span should be in the p. All right, that's better. This like this, p tag. Okay, but then this color didn't pick up, so we should say font color. Font color, I think so. Font color, yeah, font color red. or maybe we should give an HTML color. Let's see. Update, go back home, and then click on our title. Is P not a tag? What is it going like? Didn't I close the H1 tag or what? Let's try again. Let's go back to admin. Let's go back to admin. Go back to edit our page. This is the page here. So we didn't close the H1 tag. That's where the problem is. That's why. Okay. So but then the color issue, update, go home, about. Okay, so this is the so this is span the P tag one. This is about page H1. Now issue with the color. Why is it not picking my color? So HTML color. Why is it not picking? It doesn't like red. It wants HTML color. Okay, let's get HTML color. Okay, no big deal. HTML color. Okay, W3 schools. Let's see what HTML color we can get here. Tomato. Or is it foreground color? Or let's just use this one. H1. Let's use this P tag, style, background color, tomato. I don't trust it, so I don't trust it. Okay, let's use background color. What about the foreground color? I want foreground color. I want foreground. Okay, I want foreground color like this one. Style color. So style color, tomato. So why is mine not working? I just copy all of this. Copy all of that. Let's go back there. Program there. So we are here. Okay, let's go back and paste in there. So let's go back to the admin. So there's no admin here. Let's take this one out. So we're here. Let's go back to admin. Admin/admin. Okay, go to page, edit page. Let's just add this one here, see what it does. The H1 tag style. I'm not sure it's because of my span. Span has no issues. So this color, it should be color, not font color. So I was right in the first place. Color is equal to color tomato. Are you sure? Let's upload this and then see about. Okay, so I was right. It's color. It's not font color. Okay, so it works. All right, we don't need this hello world. So that's what it is. You can write the HTML tag and so on. Okay, so that's how we do about adding pages. Now, if you're developing and you want to set a particular theme, no need for users to be doing this. It's not important. You want a particular theme, let's say a dark theme, you can set that in your app. So you can come here, see where we set the UI mode. The rest you can get the rest on my GitHub page on the Simple Rag app there. So the SyntaxMatrix. So you can also set theme. You can also disable. You can set your theme and then disable that theme, that button. So you can set the theme that you want. You can disable this button so it shouldn't be showing. Then you set a theme that you want. Let's say you want a dark theme. The list of themes are on my GitHub page. The readme there is explicit, so you can say smx.set theme, let's say dark. Let's say smx dot disable theme toggle. I believe that's it. So I'll check it. I'll check it in the GitHub. Let's open the GitHub again. github.com/obga rag-up. Okay, let's see what I said about that. And SMS enable theme toggle. Okay, it's theme toggle, so I'm disabling it now. We got set UI mode. Okay, you can set this profile, you can change everything about the function, you can change everything, change the logo and so on, put your own logo. All right, so and then site title you can change as well. So let's go with enable toggle, disable. We want to disable it. You can change the bot icons, you can change everything. So we're trying to disable this. We're trying to disable this button. Okay, so let's run it now. Save, stop the server, and run again. What's that? So I said set theme, you should take a string dark, no, not that one. Okay, run again. Okay, so it launches the dark theme, and then the toggle button is gone. All right, the list of themes should be able to get the list of themes. Let me see the GitHub page. Let's go to the MD, the README file. So submit query. These are the inbuilt chat widgets as we talked about. The keys must be these, as we'll see later. When you're building any other one, you can choose your own key. Okay, enable toggle button. Okay, enable toggle button, set theme. Okay, plus list theme. So we can list themes. Okay, xms.list themes. So you can come here, get the functions that you can have access to. So we can list themes. So so let's get the themes. So we want to list it at the front end. Let's go to the front end. So let's say smx dot warning, to give it an orange color. Warning smx dot list. I think I have it copied. smx dot list theme, I think. So if you come to the page here, you can see all the list of things you can do here. So you see we set, as we saw here, we set the UI mode. We set the UI mode. Then we set the theme to chalk. I've changed it from dark to chalk, and then we disable the toggle theme button, so that the user doesn't have the ability to be toggling. They just the app you build would then assume the theme that you give it. To know the theme that you give it, you can get the list here of the themes, or you can say smx.list themes, sms.list themes to get the name of the theme that you want to choose, or sms.list UI modes, and then you write that out on the console. So this warning is the same as write. The success is the same as write, just that it comes with different color. Just like when we say sms.error, it writes in with red. That's what it all means. These are all write functions. Okay, so but they are then a little bit colorated. All right. So that's what it is. You can get the themes, and then you say your theme. So when you get the theme that you want, you get a list theme, it gives you the theme that you want. Then you can come here and then set your theme or your UI mode. UI mode means how the chat are displayed. As we saw, the default one is so ugly. We change it to bubble, and bubble is to be a little bit nicer. As you can see here, you can see it's a little bit nicer. This is bubble. This is how the bubble works. Okay. See, this is how the bubble works. So that is it about the integration of the SyntaxMatrix. One thing, we can also add visualization